Hey everybody, Andy here. How you doing? Good to see you. Are you looking for a high yield savings account or just a friend? Well, maybe I can help you with one or both of those. In this video, I'm going to review Discover Bank. Let me go ahead and jump to the conclusion, Matt.
You see, it would be this math and would have different conclusions that you could jump to.
I think Discover Bank has a great offering and you should consider them if you're shopping for a new checking or savings account. If you want more detail than that, and I'm guessing you do, then stick around for the rest of the video because I'll go into detail about the features Discover has, what the pros and cons are, and whether you should consider banking with them or not. If while watching you get some useful info out of this video, then please be a friend and click that like button and consider subscribing to my channel. I cover all things money and would love to have you stick around. Okay, on to the review. When you think of Discover, if you do, you likely think of their credit card offerings, and maybe you even think of the old jokes that they aren't accepted anywhere. Well, times change and Discover cards are accepted just about anywhere you can use a credit card. They have a really great cashback card with their Discover It credit card. Beyond the credit cards, you might not have realized that they also have a full banking offering. Well, I guess if you're watching this review video, wondering if their banking products are any good, then yes, you probably know they exist. However, I would guess that most people aren't aware of their standard bank offerings, and that's a shame because they have some great features. Discover has been around since the 1980s, so they are not young anymore. Wait, I was born in the 80s. Does that mean I'm not young anymore? Anyways, well, while Discover Card has been around for a while, their online banking is a relatively newer addition being launched in 2013. A real youngster.
How do you do, fellow kids?
They boast the typical fare of modern online banking features, like they are no-fee bank. That means no minimum balance on the accounts, no monthly maintenance fees, no foreign transaction fees, and no insufficient funds or overdraft fees. Now that last one is a feature of many of the newer breed of banks, but I think is a pretty big one. Chase, for example, will charge you $34 every time you overdraft. And while you should do your best to not overdraft, regardless of where you bank, it can happen to anyone. I mean, are there any fees that are fun to pay? Fun fees? Paying for some fee fun? Fee fun? What? So I applaud banks when they don't charge obvious, greedy cash grab fees like overdraft fees. The biggest reason you'll likely be considering Discover Bank is their high yield savings account. What is a high yield savings account? Well, it's a savings account with a higher than average interest rate, so that while your money is sitting in the account, it actually earns you some passive income. If I may pick on the big banks again, and I will, banks like Wells Fargo and Chase currently pay you 0.01% annual percentage yield, whereas Discover pays you 0.6%. And why does that matter? Well, let's say you manage to save up an emergency fund in your savings account of $20,000. Over the course of the year, that money will earn $120 in passive income sitting in your Discover savings account. $120 doesn't sound like much? Well, that same money sitting in a savings account at the big banks will earn in that same 1 year period a whopping $2. $2. So wouldn't you rather earn something rather than basically nothing? I think that you would. On top of having a much higher than average interest rate, you can also open as many savings accounts as you want with Discover. You'll earn interest on all of them. I think this is such a great feature and it really makes Discover stand out amongst many of the other banks. The cool thing about banks that allow you to do this is you can open a savings account just for your emergency fund, one for saving up for that house down payment, or one to save for that vacation that you have no idea when you want to get on an airplane for.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
We'll get there one day. One day. Lots of people love the ability to split out their savings like that. So if that's something you care about, then Discover has got you covered. Along with the savings account, they also have a great checking account. Their checking account has no fees, comes with a debit card, checks, and most of the standard stuff checking accounts come with these days. Now, while the account doesn't directly offer an interest rate like Ally Bank, for example, they have a really cool feature of 1% cash back on all debit card purchases up to $3,000 each month. This is a nice feature because you will likely be using your debit card to pay for all your bills and normal expenses, and you'll be earning 1% cash back while you do that. So if you spend the full $3,000 a month, you will get $30 in cash back each month or $360 a year. That's an excellent feature, but you definitely shouldn't spend money just to take advantage of the cash back. The return isn't so high that it makes sense to take advantage of it like that, but it definitely is high enough to be an incentive for normal bills and everyday purchases. Using their debit card, you can withdraw for no fee at over 60,000 ATMs nationwide. However, unlike many of the other modern bank offerings, they do not offer reimbursements for out-of-network ATM fees. Given how many in-network ATMs they have, I don't feel like this is a big deal breaker though. Similar to Ally Bank, you can do person-to-person transfers using Zelle Pay. It's a super fast and easy way to send money to friends and family or to transact with people when you buy or sell on places like Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Not only does that money transfer in minutes, but there are no fees and it's super easy to use. Like many other banks, Discover also offers money market accounts. It's an account which is basically a hybrid between a checking and savings account. It has an interest rate of 0.45%, which is lower than the savings account but higher than most checking accounts. It comes with a debit card and lets you use ATMs. Normally there is a limit on monthly transfers, 6 transfers, but that doesn't apply to transactions made with the debit card. And like many banks, they are not enforcing that right now because of the pandemic. The Federal Reserve has actually removed the transfer limit regulation nationally, but it's still not 100% if this is going to be permanent or a temporary change. So just be aware that like a savings account, if you do more than 6 transfers in a single month and you do that more than a few times, they can close your account if the regulation gets enforced again. It's not personal, it's federal regulation. And it's stupid. I hope the change is permanent. They also offer CDs or certificate of deposit accounts. If you're looking to save money in a non-investment account and are worried about the continually dropping interest rates, then you can open a CD at Discover Bank and lock in a rate. Right now, their high-yield CD has a rate of 0.6% if you lock your money up with it for a year. Beyond a year, you can lock up your money for as long as 10 years, but I do not recommend that. In fact, past the 1-year CD, I don't really see any advantage to using one of these accounts. Their 2-year CD rate is only 0.05% higher than the 1-year rate. I'm not convinced that the tiny interest rate bump is worth it when it's so hard to know what the economy will look like in 2 years or even 5 to 10 years. If you know what the economy looks like by then, please let me know. I want to get fabulously rich too.
Marty!
I can't lose.
Marty, up here!
Thanks. I think an absolute must-have for banking these days is a great app, and Discover delivers on that. The app has 4.5 out of 5 stars on the App Store, has a great quick view / overview of all your accounts. As required with these banks, they have a mobile check deposit, which is easy to use. I think the app looks great, is very responsive, and most importantly, is easy to use. Another similarity to Ally Bank is that Discover has fantastic customer service. You can call them 24/7 and speak to a human being. They are friendly and knowledgeable, and the overall experience is hard to beat. It's hard to beat. Do you even know what I'm saying? Do you know what's happening right now? Okay, enough of me going on and on about how great Discover is. Let's spend a little time talking about the not so great things. Let's tear them down a little bit. First, like all the online-only banks, you are giving up the ability to go into a physical branch location. Now, technically, Discover isn't online-only, but unless you live in Greenwood, Delaware, you are SOL on going into a local branch. So, for that reason, I consider Discover to be online only. So there are no cash deposits and no physical branch to walk into and talk to somebody. If you frequently have cash you need to deposit, then you will also need a physical bank alongside your Discover account. I would recommend a local credit union for this task. Cash is a no-go with Discover, but again, checks are easily deposited via their mobile app. This really is mostly a positive though. The lack of physical locations and subsequent cost savings is a really big reason why they can offer interest rates and other features that are so much better than standard banks. Another thing that some would consider a downside to Discover is that they don't have an investing platform. This is something I really like about Ally Bank and feel it adds to their full-featured banking offering. Discover does offer IRA options, but unfortunately they are only interest accounts in the form of an IRA CD or IRA savings account. I see no point to these because you cannot invest your money into the stock market via these accounts, which I feel is the single biggest reason you would use a tax advantage account like an IRA or Roth IRA. So this is a big miss with Discover for me. However, this probably isn't a big deal for many people because you might already have a favorite brokerage of your choice picked out and in use, and you might not care about having your investments and standard banking under the same roof. Okay, let's wrap this up. I think Discover has a great set of banking products. It's hard to call something the best of a specific category because everyone has different needs and goals. If you want to have a checking account, savings account, home loan, auto loan, and investments all under the same umbrella, then a bank like Ally is a no-brainer. If you don't have such broad needs and want a competitive bank with great features, an excellent app, and outstanding customer support, then Discover is an excellent option. Not to mention, if you already have a Discover credit card, then that might seal the deal. Again, with so many of these modern banking solutions, there isn't a wrong answer. It's just a question of which one fits your needs and goals the best. I recommend that you open up accounts at multiple banks you're interested in and then try them out for yourself. They cost nothing to open and you can do it all online. There's nothing quite like first-hand experience. That's how I know to not stick a fork in an electrical outlet. If you found this review and info helpful, please be a friend and like this video and subscribe for more money-related content on my channel. I hope I helped you discover some great info in your search for a new bank. Puns. All day, every day. See you in the next video.